Good afternoon, Zinger Nation. My name is Logan Ross, and this is Moon or Bust, your home for all things altcoins and DeFi. Live from beautiful Detroit, Michigan. Today, we'll be giving an update on the crypto markets, talking about ETH, Cardano, Bitcoin, and then we're going to be talking about Solana a little bit, giving an update on the adult content cryptocurrencies, and then we'll be interviewing Dennis from the Cosmos Starport team. It's going to be awesome. You do not want to miss it. This is some deep value right here we're bringing to you. So if you're excited, let us know by smashing the like button right now. I'm going to bring my two co-hosts on. We have Master of Margin Ryan McNamara and DeFi developer Brian Moir. How are you fellas doing today?
You already know the deal. Markets are green. I'm happy.
Brian is muted. I'm just going to assume that he is also doing well.
Can't complain about that. Sorry, I was fixing my mic.
All good, man. Okay, so I want to point out a couple links in the description before we get started. So head down there real quick. Make sure you subscribe to the Benzinga channel if you're not already. And then also we have a crypto channel. It's the first link in the description. Subscribe to that as well to get all the crypto clips from our show and the other crypto shows here at Benzinga. We also have a Telegram, and if you join it, you can get 25% off on the merch. You see the sick ETH Moon or Bust hat we got going on here. We got Ryan's shirt, all of that and more. And you can get 25% off just by joining the Telegram. We'll toss you the code if you ask for it. So also I want to shout out the Benzinga Money crypto landing page. It's in the description. And there's also like how to buy links for a bunch of cryptos that aren't really obvious how to get your hands on. We've put together some great tutorials. So while you're down there in the description checking it out, make sure you look at those. Because we put a lot of work into that when we're not on stream here. As always, make sure to connect with us on Twitter. But with that out of the way, let's get started with the market update. So Ryan, do you want to run us through the prices while I pull up TradingView here?
Yeah, let me pull up CoinMarketCap. I know last time I checked, Bitcoin was getting really close to $49,000, which I love to see. Hopefully we'll get to that 50K mark here pretty soon. So Bitcoin's at $48,650. We got ETH at $32.50. We have Cardano retaking the third place by market capitalization at $2.48 at $80 billion evaluation, with Binance Coin not far behind it at $450 with a $75 billion valuation. So yeah, let's touch on Bitcoin because I think this is the most interesting. As you guys know, the markets always follow Bitcoin. So let's take a look, see where we're going.
Yeah, so as you can see here, we are well above the bull market support band. And really, we've just kind of left it behind. So this could be a fake out. We could come right back down and stay down there for a couple more months. But we really want to look to correct and hold this as support. So once we have that, we're really cleared for takeoff. We've been saying this every week. This is what you got to look for. So if you're not in right now, if you're still in stables, you might have another chance in a couple days here, maybe a couple weeks. But in the short term, the near term, I'm looking to continue this run. How about you guys?
And I'm hoping we continue. I think 50K is going to be a psychological support for a lot of investors. So, I mean, personally, I'm not expecting to go above 50K before we come back down and hopefully retest that bull market support band. But you never know. I mean, we could just be up from here. If you go to the one-day candlesticks, it almost looks like we've already tested that bull market support band. So my question is, have we already tested that and are we on our way back up, or are we going to actually come back down and settle there on a weekly candlestick level instead of a daily candlestick level and then go up from there? Because this looks like we've kind of tested it now almost twice.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. I did not think about looking at the dailies like that, but I mean, I think this is great, but a weekly candle would be even better. Brian, what do you think?
I think it all depends on kind of also what this weekend brings. So crypto usually goes down on the weekend, but then we'll either pop back up coming into like Sunday night to Monday morning. You'll see a lot of runs, or that's when you're going to see everything start tanking again. So, I mean, it all kind of depends on if I think maybe if we break 50K over the weekend, we could possibly see, us land a little above it and stay. But I think what you guys have just kind of laid out is probably more realistic of what is going to happen. I've just seen
For
it
sure.
do some crazy things over the weekend, especially.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to pull up Cardano now, Brian. I think your mic might be off or it's on the wrong one. So you might want to check that out.
All right.
ADA, boom. Alrighty. So ADA has blasted off recently. This is the market cap view. Let's see if we can get it by dollar. We'll just go to Binance here. Okay, boom. Okay, so for the longest time, ADA stood for a dollar always. Okay, this thing could not break $2 if its life depended on it. And now it has just gone all the way through the roof. It hit 250, like 7 or 8 briefly, and it has just absolutely blasted off. Ryan, I know you're not the biggest ADA fan, but there's so many arguments for it. One, it's newer, so it has more volatility potential. As a hedge to my Ethereum position, it makes sense. As a less decentralized blockchain, there's tons of applications that can't run on the Ethereum mainnet. It just doesn't make sense. It's too expensive, like blockchain gaming, for example. And this is where I think Cardano has the opportunity to shine. Now, they need to implement smart contracts first, and we'll see if that can happen. But should that successfully be pulled off, DeFi on Cardano is going to be nuts towards the end of the year.
Well, we'll see a lot more use cases for ADA as we go. And like I think one consensus we have is it's not a bad like long-term goal kind of coin, kind of token. You're not really looking for this huge run-up. You're looking for longevity. And so I really like ADA for that. That's why I like Polygon as well. I'm pretty happy about it. I don't know if we're going to see, I mean, we might see some little bit of a downturn because it's the kind of one that's either going to fall or it's going to kind of keep rolling. So I hope that we see 3 before we see back below 1. But we'll have to see.
Yeah, for sure. So Slippery says 9/12 is the date for smart contracts. They've delivered on everything else so far. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll see that next month. I say we skip ETH today. We always talk about it. It isn't doing anything insanely spectacular. Let's jump over to Solana and the Solana ecosystem. So Ryan, I know you've been digging in lately. Can you give us the scoop?
Sure. So Solana's been going up with a lot of these smart contract cryptocurrencies lately, like Polkadot, like Cardano, like Ethereum. But Solana's in price discovery mode now. We're at new all-time highs, and it's absolutely been ripping. And alongside Solana, a lot of the Solana ecosystem tokens have been ripping too. I've seen Audius go into the top 100 cryptocurrencies. It's around 80 to the 70th position now, with like 100% gains on the weekly. There's also Serum, Radium, Star Atlas, a lot of big things coming out on Solana, and they're gaining a lot of traction. I think that Solana can outcompete with ETH for certain types of applications because of the way its blockchain works. It can handle a lot more transactions at a lot cheaper cost than Ethereum. So, for example, I think gaming could do really well on Solana. So there's a project coming out. It's called Star Atlas. It's coming out on the 26th of August. That's when the token will launch, Atlas. There's also Polis, which is the governance token for it. Essentially, it's like a virtual world, not even a world, but a virtual universe where you can get different spaceships, travel around. It's integrated with a lot of different types of NFTs. It looks pretty cool. And something like this would be impossible to do on Ethereum as Ethereum is today, just because it just doesn't make sense to pay high transaction fees for every single transaction. You see some games on Ethereum do well, like Axie Infinity, but those games, they're not as advanced as Star Atlas. Like Axie Infinity essentially is a card game, and it's kind of like CryptoKitties even, where you breed your NFTs and get new ones. But I think there's a lot more potential for games on Solana because of the way its blockchain works. So I for one, am excited for Star Atlas. I will be picking up some Atlas tokens once they come out on the 26th. What do you guys think of Solana and its ecosystem?
I like it a whole lot. We figured out, but I forgot what it was, but that NFT project that really brought that huge increase in Solana last week. There's just a whole lot of stuff that it can do. And like you said, there's a big ecosystem that will allow just a ton of different things to kind of be a part of it. And so Solana only has an upside, in my opinion.
And when you're looking at these smaller cryptocurrencies that do run smart contracts, not to say it's small, I mean, Solana is almost a top 10 cryptocurrency if it's not. You kind of have to look at and see what's the niche for these cryptocurrencies, because everyone will say, you know, I think in the long run, there will be a place for Solana, there'll be a place for Cardano. But I think where the money is what is that place? Where can you invest in the ecosystem? Like what will do well on that smart contract blockchain? For one, I think Ethereum will do really well with DeFi because in my opinion, it's the most secure and most uncensorable. So I think the DeFi plays are mostly on Ethereum, whereas like I said, NFT gaming, that could be a play on Solana or a higher capacity blockchain.
Yeah, I can see that. Each one find its little niche.
Logan, speaking of higher capacity, do you want to show off Serum, the Serum DEX? I think it's really cool. I think we should touch on this just for a second.
Sure. You want to pull up the chart here?
No, actually just the website to show what it's all about. So Serum is a decentralized exchange on Solana's blockchain, but it gives you all the benefits of a centralized exchange as far as features with all the security and permissionless system as a decentralized exchange on Ethereum. So on Ethereum, all of these decentralized exchanges are automated market makers for the most part, which means you have liquidity pools. And essentially what you can do is just swap your cryptocurrency. So you go in, you have Ethereum, you can swap it for any other ERC20 token on that exchange. But because Solana can handle so much more data and handle it so much faster, you can actually get order books on the exchange. You can get derivatives. It's basically, I mean, you look at it and it's basically like a centralized exchange. And I know we've had Trader Main on the show before, a big cryptocurrency trader from Twitter. He says, you know, I don't use decentralized exchanges because there's just so limited features compared to centralized exchanges. I think things like Serum on Solana really change that up. And for more serious traders, it could be a play.
Very cool. And then we have SBF, the founder of the FTX exchange, richest crypto kid in the world, bankrolling it. He has single-handedly just been ripping Solana, buying a ton of it himself. And I'm looking for him to diversify into that ecosystem as well. So yeah, I'm definitely going to keep my eyes on Solana going forward. I've had a small bag of it for a couple of months now, and it has been proven to be a good investment. So maybe we'll do a deep dive on Solana in the future. But speaking of high throughput blockchains, advanced cutting edge technology blockchains, there is the Cosmos blockchain, the Cosmos protocol. And alongside that is the Starport development kit. So this allows developers to create their own blockchain in just a few minutes. And not only is it their own blockchain, it's interoperable with all of the other blockchains built on Cosmos, built on Starport. And it's really promising the future of blockchain interoperability. And we have with us today the lead developer of Starport himself, Dennis Fadiv. Dennis, welcome to Moon or Bust. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, the pleasure is ours. So for those who aren't really familiar with Cosmos or Starport, can you give us a big picture overview, please?
Sure. I think it will help to understand like the philosophy behind Cosmos. So the main idea is that the future is multi-chain, and there will be dozens, hundreds, thousands, maybe much more, many more blockchains online. Right, and the goal is to create this network of blockchains where these chains are actually connected with each other, and users are not locked into any particular blockchain, but they can move their assets, their tokens, and really send any data between any chains, So it becomes like this huge network that acts both as an application layer. And also as a scaling solution.
Yeah, so blockchain interoperability is a big hindrance to adoption right now, and that is more or less Cosmos's goal, to connect and create an internet of blockchains. So Dennis, I know you come from a front-end background. Do you see user experience as the biggest hurdle left to overcome for the crypto industry, or is there something else that's in the way?
Yeah, there are definitely some issues with developer experience. Like it still is quite hard to build blockchains, right? And for us to get to this multi-chain world, we will need to improve that, and that's what we've been doing for more than a year now with Starport CLI. And of course, user experience can also be improved, but it's kind of a separate topic, because right now to use all these services available, you still have to install extensions or like mobile applications. So we're trying to improve the developer experience first. That's what we're focused on right now.
That's awesome. So let me look down the road a little bit into the future. Say maybe in 20 years, will people know the retail adopters? Will they know that they're interacting with a blockchain, or will it be abstracted away, like the technicalities like gas and wrap tokens? Is the goal to kind of take that away and really simplify it from the end user?
Oh yeah, in my opinion, it will definitely be abstracted away from end users. Like right now, we're very, very early, even though it seems like there is so much stuff going on and so much progress. But we are early, and right now we're kind of looking at the internals of this whole system, and we're building it. Right, we're essentially coming up with things that will be there in 5, 10, or 20 years. So I think blockchains. And interoperability between blockchains specifically is kind of like this connectivity layer that will eventually be not that important to end users. Like they will just use crypto applications the same way they're using web applications. They're not thinking about TCP, HTTP, and servers and all this stuff. Like for them, it's just a browser and a window into limitless number of different services and things that they actually care about. Same thing will happen with crypto, except in the future, and I mean in the present, but also in the future, money will be as a primitive. So instead of just moving data around, you will be able to move tokens and identities and assets. I mean, you can do it right now, but hopefully the UI, UX of all of this will be improved dramatically.
Sweet. Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. So I have a question about Starport. Say that there's 100,000 Starport-based blockchains in the future. Some of them are going to be really decentralized, but some of them are going to be incredibly centralized, and they could be potentially malicious. Will there be any protections for that retail adopter from like connecting with a chain that could be potentially centralized and malicious, and they would have no way of knowing?
Well, it will be, so yeah, of course, if you're an investor and like we're talking about the future, right, you will have to dig a bit deeper than your average kind of token holder or just user of these services, right? So you will care about how many validators there are and how distributed tokens are, and just generally how it all works. Like, do they actually provide any kind of interesting services that you would like to become part of? But for end users, I don't think that would be important. And what is important, I think, to note is that I think blockchains have different requirements for security, and that's one of the ideas behind Internet of Blockchains, right? You don't have to put everything on a single blockchain that has costs associated with providing the security to every single application, be it like a tiny, I don't know, Twitter clone or a huge exchange, right? Every application pays the same price, and that doesn't have to be the case. And that's why we're focusing on Starport CLI.
Awesome. So I want to touch on that idea of like a social media real quick. As I'm sure you know, Jack Dorsey is adamant that DeFi should be built on Bitcoin, despite pushback from Vitalik and a lot of the DeFi community. Does Cosmos have the potential to disrupt Twitter and other big tech products with censorship-proof products that can scale cheaply?
Yes, I think these end user applications should be built as separate blockchains. Like there is no reason to put them like if you're building a Twitter clone, there is no reason to put this application on any existing Cosmos blockchain. Like you definitely should create one right now. I mean, you definitely should create one that is sovereign, and you will be able to configure it in a way that let you kind of implement the feature set that you're going for.
To optimize for your app.
Yeah, exactly, and not be limited by whatever existing blockchains offer you. And yeah.
That's very cool. So we'll get into the advantages of having a sovereign blockchain in a little bit. But right now, I want to talk about the success of Cosmos and Starport so far. There have been several large blockchains that have been made using the SDK. Can you tell us about some of these successes?
Yeah, sure. So for the last, I would say, year, the Cosmos ecosystem was really focused on delivering IBC, and that happened in just a couple of months ago, like in March 2021. And during this time, we've seen like explosion of different applications being built. One of them is osmosis, for example. People are building blockchains like UMI, and I mean, you will see Sif Chain, an interesting project, and of course Cosmos Hub recently added Gravity DEX, right, which takes advantage of IBC protocol. So I can definitely see like the cool new stuff, and almost like an explosion of different ideas being implemented, and that becomes possible through IBC. And I'm happy to say that some of these blockchains were actually created with Starport. So that's very neat, I think.
So how easy is it to make a blockchain on Starport? Can anyone do it, or do you need a good advanced coding background, or can just the average Joe make their blockchain?
So it is a developer tool. So you need to have a background. So it's not a constructor, but we've tried to make it as simple as possible. And you don't have to be a blockchain developer. You don't even have to be a Go developer. So for example, I have front-end developer background, but I think it's really accessible to traditional web application developers. So like if you know JavaScript and you're willing to learn a bit of Go and figure out how it works, then you're set. So the tool itself is super easy to use. There's just one command to install it, and you have all the tools available to you. There's one command to scaffold a new chain, and you get all the source code files, and everything is very, very clear. And then you have a bunch of commands to add functionality. So you can create a DEX module. You can add a list of pools, and you can issue one command to start a local testnet with HUD reloading. So you can start building your application. And yes, we have great tutorials. So if you start, I think like in 1 week, you can go through all tutorials and become like really competent with this tool and become very productive. And you also don't need a huge team for that as well. So since this language, the Golang is so accessible, there shouldn't be any issues with finding people who are passionate about building blockchains in Go.
That's cool. So say I want to make my own blockchain on Starport. I go in, I launch a blockchain. How do I go about getting nodes? Like once I launch the blockchain, will there be independent nodes already through Cosmos or Starport, or is that something I'd have to bootstrap myself?
So yeah, that's a great question. And we started thinking about that once we've released Starport CLI and understood that people were like quickly starting to build things, and they had the same question, like how do I launch this? And we've delivered a proof of concept in December of 2020 of Starboard Network, which is our solution to this problem. So it's a blockchain that lets you launch blockchains. So we're currently actively working on this, and we've completed our first milestone, and we're hoping to deliver Starboard Network by end of this year. So what Starboard Network does is it allows you as a coordinator to launch, to kind of collaborate with validators on your chain launch. And you can go through multiple test nets, and these test nets affect how the main net will be launched. And there are awesome features that will also let you evaluate how much your chain will be worth even before you launch it. So there's some price discovery mechanisms that we're building, and I think it will be very interesting for both developers, coordinators, and token holders.
So is that purely just a test net for developers, or can they transfer those nodes over to the main net once they launch?
Yeah, it's absolutely built for mainnets.
Okay.
So the purpose of Starport Network is to get you from zero, from essentially the source code, to a working mainnet. But when before you get to mainnet, you actually very often you want to go through a series of test nets, and results of these test nets, like validators who validate these test nets, will affect the token distribution eventually on the mainnet.
Very cool. So speaking of people building blockchains on Starport, is there a target audience that you expect will use Starport in the short term? And do you think that there will be a bigger audience in the future? And if so, what will those people look like?
Sure. So there are several target audiences. One of course, is existing blockchain developers who want to build. We're building a pro tool, and we want people who contribute to Cosmos SDK to actually use it as their kind of daily driver when it comes to blockchain development, and we're succeeding at that. But we also want to make sure it's accessible to non-blockchain developers, because that's the biggest market. We want to provide an alternative for people who want to build an app, and they're like, maybe this app should have currency as a primitive. Like maybe like right now they don't really consider that, because they think that this is a completely separate thing, right? You need to build smart contract, like. But when you use Starport, you really don't see a difference between building a traditional web application and building a blockchain, except you now have all these tools at your disposal that will allow you to build an economy, essentially, right? So if you're building a web application for a community of people, and you want to make sure that there's a working economy within it, you're much better off actually by building a blockchain than going through traditional web application route.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. And my next question, I think you've already touched on a good amount, but I want to talk about it, I guess, as far as Ethereum in particular. What are the benefits for someone to build a blockchain on Starport instead of just launching a token with smart contracts on Ethereum?
So I guess the main advantage is sovereignty, and the way kind of it. Basically, when you launch a contract, you're launching on someone else's chain. And although it's everyone's chain, but you still have to pay the price, right? And I'm talking about gas costs, of course. Okay. So if you are building like a Twitter clone, or I don't know, a decentralized exchange based on order books where you have a bunch of requests, you cannot build this on a chain that is extremely popular, because your users will pay the price. Mm-hmm. With Starboard and generally Cosmos, you launch a sovereign blockchain. It only serves your application. So all the costs that are associated with transacting on this chain are connected with this application. So your users don't pay for any games that run alongside your application, right? But you also get the advantages of smart contract, which is network effect. Right, you're not launching a separate chain that is like siloed and not connected to anything. You're launching an application implemented as a blockchain in an existing huge network of other applications implemented as blockchains. So the only downside that we're working actually on right now is that you need to launch your chain, right? You need to find validators. You need to go through like the series of testnets, and as soon as this is solved, I think it will be like a no-brainer, because you will have your own thing. Your users wouldn't have to pay extra for it, and you will still be connected to everyone else.
Yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. It seems like a really good solution for developers. So who do you see as your biggest competitors in the space?
Well, Cosmos, actually, I don't think we view others as competitors, and that's because IDC. We want other blockchains to implement IDC and become part of the ecosystem. And right now, there are projects that have a vision that is similar to Cosmos. So, for example, Polkadot is working on a very similar vision, but they have a different approach. Polygon is working on similar things, but like what we're building a tool for non-blockchain developers, and we're we want to provide like a good alternative for smart contract developers as well. So whenever existing blockchain developers want decide like how do they want to implement their application, Starport should be like their one of the choices that they can potentially make if they want to build like a scalable and sovereign application.
Right, and I want to touch on IBC because that is a core part of Cosmos and Starport. So say I want to build a DEX on Cosmos blockchain. Can you explain how the IBC could let me trade cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin or Ethereum that are on different blockchains on that DEX?
Sure. So neither Bitcoin nor Ethereum can implement IBC. So IBC has certain requirements that only more modern blockchains can implement. But IBC will help transfer these assets as soon as they're enter Cosmos ecosystem, right? So you will need a bridge to Ethereum. For example, a Gravity bridge is being built right now, and what this will allow users to do is transfer their assets from Ethereum land into Cosmos land. But once they reach Cosmos Hub, now thanks to IBC, users can move their assets between all these chains and like participate in all these services. So the cool thing about IBC is that it is kind of like a system, a communication system between all these blockchains, and also it will allow Cosmos chains connect to Polkadot, for example. So there's work being done right now implementing a palette for IBC to connect these two ecosystems.
So does IBC only work with proof of stake blockchains right now?
No, there is no requirement for this to be proof of stake. It has 3 requirements as far as I remember. So it has to have, a blockchain has to have a key value store, fast finality, and it has to be able to execute code. That's pretty much like 3 requirements. So it doesn't have to be proof of stake. But many modern blockchains are proof of stake, and it's just a coincidence that they can also implement IBC just because, by the virtue of being more modern.
Okay, yeah, thank you for that clarification.
So, sorry, I thought there was another one. Developers can create their own. Can developers create their own scaffolding or templates using Starport? I know you can customize it once you have it, but is there a way to maybe create your own scaffolding and use it later as something like, for example, how you can upload an npm package in JavaScript? Is there any way to do something like that?
So right now the scaffolding functionality is baked into Starport CLI. But it's pretty easy to just create a PR and copy existing functionality and propose that. And we're very open to contributions. We actually get quite a few contributions on a weekly basis, which is very exciting because that means community really likes the tool and wants to extend it. But in the future, I think Starport CLI will have its own plugin system so that you will be able to write kind of a declarative configuration file that describes what kind of functionality you want, have a simple template, and Starport will be able to pick this up. But Cosmos SDK, which powers Starport, right? It's the framework that we're using, is modular. And that's really, really cool because what you will be able soon to do with Cosmos SDK, I mean, you can do it right now, but it's we are hoping that it will be more NPM-like in the coming months, is you will be able to just install different modules like a DEX. So you just, for example, you're building your chain, you don't have to scaffold the DEX if there is already a module for a DEX. You'll be able to just include it. I mean, you can do it right now, but we want it to be as simple as every other Starport feature, which is like Starport installed DEX, and it will just download and add this module to your blockchain. Gotcha.
With the front end aspect to it, right now you can only do it in Vue, but is there like maybe in the future would you be able to do it in different JavaScript languages or even other ones like React or Angular, but maybe even go to like something else besides, like, kind of outside of that?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So right now we're focused on Vue because it's like literally impossible to implement everything in every possible framework. Yeah. However, the code that Starport generates is TypeScript. So if you're using React, you can just use this code for interacting with the blockchain. So when using React, you won't get all the visual components because they are in view, but the actual code that lets you interact with the chain is framework agnostic. And what also I'll mention is that most likely in the next version of Starport, we'll also scaffold a mobile application as well. So we're trying to provide like everything a developer might need. And we understand it pretty clearly that a blockchain is just a part of the story. Like you never just build a blockchain. You also need a front end. You most likely need a mobile application because that's a very convenient way of storing keys securely without relying on extensions. So we're working actively on adding this functionality to Starport right now. So hopefully in the coming months that's going to be available, and it's pretty exciting.
Gotcha. One other thing is I saw there wasn't a whole lot of detail on it on the docs, but then I went to the website. I don't know how to pronounce it though. It's the WebAssembly plugin. Is that part of Starport? Cosm Wasm? I don't know how to say it. That's just how I can. It's COSMWASM.
Yeah, that's Cosm Wasm. So
that's right.
Yeah, it's an awesome project that is implemented as a Cosmos SDK module. So you can add this module to any chain, and actually with Starport is just one command to add WASM. And what this allows your users to do is write applications, write smart contracts in Rust, similarly to like on Ethereum, you write in Solidity. Same thing here, you write in Rust and upload this contract. And this just extends the functionality of your chain at the end of the day, right? You build your chain like the core modules in Go. It's the things that describe the rules of the game, right? Like immutable. I mean, they're not immutable, but they're like more permanent, right? And you upgrade your chain to include more Go modules. But many chains want to give their users ability to script their chain essentially. So the way I like to think about this is like you have a browser like Chrome, right? And it's written in C++, and that's the same thing with a blockchain, right? You write your browser in Go, but then you give your users ability to script it with JavaScript in the browser, and you script it with Rust in Cosmos blockchain. So like blockchain is like a browser, and scripting language is smart contract support.
Gotcha. Yeah, that seems like it kind of almost gives it an unlimited amount of possibilities too. If you want your blockchain project to be built with Cosmos by adding that module, I mean, it's endless to what you can do with that, and how much easier it is than having to say, fork Ethereum and then build it out all yourself, run it and do all this stuff, or like a smaller blockchain. And, you might not have all that developmental knowledge. It'd be a lot of trial and error. Cosmos just kind of, I mean, you're right there, you're in it, and you're ready to go and actually build what you want instead of taking that time to lay it all out. I think that's awesome. That's just one of the newer things I saw that you guys added, and very impressive.
Yeah, there's kind of no reason to fork a blockchain when you can build like a proper one that is modular, extensible, modern, and you get all the tooling. Like, why would you go the
waste of time?
The other, yeah, why would you waste valuable time on that?
I like how Cosmos has focused so much on really building the full toolkit for the developer, instead of just trying to create some revenue generating system right off the bat and make money as quickly as possible. It seems like you guys are really in it for the long haul. You are waiting for that exponential payout, which I think is cool, and I really hope it plays out for you guys. So let's talk about Emerus real quick. We talked about this with Pung a couple weeks ago, but it has recently just launched. I checked it out. It looks awesome. Could you talk about what Emerus is and how the beta launch has gone so far?
Absolutely. So Emerus has been a huge success, and it looks great. It works amazing, and it's kind of like the window to the interchain, because previously blockchains, even in the Cosmos ecosystem, looked very kind of separated, even though they are connected. But from the user's perspective, it was another story, right? And I think this application is is probably the first one that that lets end users really kind of participate in the interchain and move assets freely and swap tokens and kind of get a glimpse of the future of what's coming to Cosmos, right?
Mhm.
This is just the first version of Emrys. It supports Gravity DEX, of course, as one of the kind of main applications within Emrys. You can swap tokens, but you can also move tokens around. And thanks to our design team, it's a very seamless process, and users don't really have to think like, which channel should I transfer tokens through? Like, all this happens under the hood. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to developments in Emrys because we have a lot of things on the roadmap.
Sweet. So speaking of the roadmap, could you give us a brief overview of what else is to come in the near to medium term?
You mean in Cosmos?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So I mean, we're working, as I mentioned, on newer versions of Starport, of course, and launching Starboard Network. So that's going to be huge. Gravity Bridge, I think, is one of the most important infrastructure projects because it will connect to Ethereum and allow people to transfer assets from Ethereum. But also, we're working with the rest of the community on interchain staking to allow developers to launch chains in a slightly different way. So of course you can launch sovereign chain, and that's what we're working towards. But some chains are more kind of, they're okay with sharing security with Cosmos Hub, for example. So they're cool with having these validators of Cosmos Hub validate their chain. So we need to figure out how to make that as seamless as possible. And yeah, so I'm also really looking forward to interchain staking, or share security, as it's called.
Awesome. Well, Dennis, thank you so much for your time today. Before we wrap this up, I'd just like to give you the opportunity to mention anything we might have missed or give any shout outs you'd like to. The floor is yours.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I think Cosmos ecosystem is really vibrant, and it's like after launch of IBC, we've seen a bunch of new things. So I'm really looking forward to what Tendermint will come up in the future, but also all other teams, because like the most important thing about Cosmos is how decentralized it is and how many teams actually work on all of this. So it's not a project of a single company, but it's a huge, vibrant ecosystem.
Awesome. Well, we have your Twitter, Cosmos' Twitter, and Starport's Twitter all linked in the description below. So you guys can go down there right now, follow along with them, and we'd love to have you back on again in the future, Dennis. So we look forward to that. But for now, hope you have a good rest of your day. We'll see you later.
You too. Bye, guys.
Thanks for coming on.
Alrighty. We hope you guys enjoyed that interview. If you did, let us know by smashing the like button right now and drop a comment. Tell us what you liked about it. It was a little bit more technical than we usually do, but I think that's kind of the point of what we're doing here, is to integrate that technical side with the money side, the investing side, and just kind of make it more real and bring what's behind the tech to you guys here. So Ryan, it looks like you got something to say. What's up, man? What's on your mind?
They come for the Shiba Inu, they stay for the Cosmos SDK.
Always.
We got them. All right. Okay, so we have a little bit of time for Moon or Bust today. Y'all favorite segment. We got a couple of requests already, so I'm gonna roll the intro. Ryan, you want to pull up our first coin while I'm doing that? Boom, I love that. Alrighty, so let's see. We got a request for
I have a request, Logan. I get to go first. I co-host this podcast. I get to choose. I want to play this game.
What is it?
Okay, how do I share it? You'll see in just a second. Be patient.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. Don't sweat it. Spank chain.
Oh, we didn't really go over that, huh?
All right, let's hear about it.
So yeah, we're up 83.75% on the
Oh my
daily.
God. Can you zoom in a little bit?
Can I zoom in? Let me see. I don't have a computer science.
The
degree.
little
I'll try.
three little, yeah, there you go.
All right.
Okay. There we go. Spank chain. So Spank chain and Cum Rocket both up really big over the past 2 days because of the whole OnlyFans debacle. If you haven't heard about that, go look it up. I'm going to keep it family friendly, but Spank chain is the alternative to OnlyFans, but on the blockchain. And we all know what's so great about the blockchain is you can't censor it. So, creators can come here. Creators can come onto Spank chain or Cum Rocket and, do whatever they please. Make that bread. So Amin.eth is the guy behind Spank chain. He's like a Twitter personality. I think he's pretty cool personally. As you can see, though, it has shot up to 60 cents before. So this just looks like a little teeny bump in price. But, I mean, you go to the 7 days here, and we have shot up a lot. We were under 3 cents, and now we are chilling at 5 cents. That's pretty good gains. I think that, with this whole OnlyFans thing going on, that these cryptocurrencies could see a lot more hype around them. At the end of the day, it really is about development and people actually using ecosystems built on the blockchain. So I don't know how good of a play this is for the long term, but I think that there is some newfound attention on these decentralized, I'll call it adult content creator projects out there. What do you guys think about it?
Well, with the recent news with OnlyFans kind of doing what it's doing, I mean, yeah, this is their time to shine right now. I mean, this is why they're there. This is why they were made, and these projects were made. So, yeah, long term, who knows? But right now, it's perfect to a good little run up. If one of them actually takes off and goes a little bit more mainstream, who knows what will happen?
And check out that volume. We're up 3,600% as far as volume goes on the daily, which is kind of just insane.
That is pretty crazy. I'm always looking for things that will bring people into the blockchain ecosystem without them even realizing it. So be that like Dogecoin, just doggy coins in general, or NFTs. Some people are in these ecosystems that don't really have a blockchain background, don't know about blockchain. And this could be another one of those big moments where people they're not in it for the tech. They just see what it can do for them and the problems that it solves, and they join for that reason. So I'm hoping to see an explosion on the Spank chain.
Okay, shall we move on?
Man.
This guy.
I'll give it a moon.
I'll give it a moon too. I mean, the product is there for sure.
Yeah. We're mooning.
Oh, look at what's trending, guys. Another one up 55%.
Damn.
Interesting. Okay, we got anything in the chat? Should we look at something else?
How about VEED? I'm not familiar with this one, but
I don't know what it is either.
VEED.
VEED.
Do you guys have any pudgy penguins? Do you?
Not anymore.
Logan's got paper hands.
Yeah, I got paper hands. I wanted Ethereum. Can you really blame me? Yes. Sorry, guys.
It would have still been an Ethereum.
I 10x'd my ETH.
Hey.
Not bad.
Not going to knock a man when he makes a profit.
Thank you.
Okay, so we got VimWorld up here. I, for one, have never heard of this. It's the 538th largest blockchain. So, I mean, this isn't a complete moonshot at that rank, but it's definitely a smaller token. It's going to be really risky. We got a market cap of $45 million. Pretty small, but, I mean, this is where you go when you're looking for that 100x gains. It could go to 0, but, it could also 100x. So if you're looking for that type of gains and you're super risk tolerant, go look between the 700th to 300th largest cryptocurrencies. And, if you get lucky, you might be able to 100x your money. You never know.
Very cool. They have 7,000, nearly 8,000 followers on Twitter. So there's like a little bit of a community going on. Do you know what the project is about, Ryan?
Red flag alert, though. I haven't looked into the vesting schedule at all, but only 6% of the circulating supply is currently in circulation. So essentially, They could pull a U.S. government type thing here and print off like 10 times as much money as there once was, and there's nothing you can do about it. I don't actually know if that's true. There might be some type of inflation schedule going on here over the long term, but to see it's only at 6%, that's very concerning. If you're looking into investing in this project, I'd definitely look into the inflation schedule. Yeah, and it's on VeChain. That's interesting.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen that before.
It's kind of like I'm on their website right now, and it's another NFT project, and kind of have a lot going on. Like at first glance, I can't tell if it's I guess it looks like it's a marketplace, but you can also, I guess it's mainly just a marketplace, but it has a lot more features, more focused to gaming and stuff like that. But I think there's collectibles and looks like a whole little ecosystem.
Pretty cool. I'm going to give this one a bust just because of that 6% circulating supply.
Well, I think I would imagine that there's a reason for that. They're kind of holding it off and putting it into these different things. I don't know enough about it to give it a moon. I think
they'll have to come on and tell us about it, yeah?
Bubble, yeah. But they say in their white paper that, they're not, we got this bubble solution.
Yeah, I think it's a cool idea, but at the same time, I think network effects are really important, like I've said on this show before. And there's a lot of different competitors within the NFT space. I think that a lot of people will be staying on Ethereum for NFTs, especially high value NFTs. And like I said earlier, maybe people will go to Solana or a different proof of history or proof of stake blockchain for gaming possibly. But you have to remember, like, for example, Solana already has an ecosystem that's pretty built out. They have DEXs with $1 billion locked in them. I don't think VeChain has that. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. But I think this is a very high risk play. I wouldn't throw money at it, so I'm going to give it a bust. We have anything else to look at?
If it's a game or if it's just a marketplace. Like, I don't know what these characters are. I gotta know more about it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right now, it's
maybe they could come on in the future. We'll have to see if we can hit them up on Twitter. But for now, we have one more that we have time for.
We can do these.
And this is Storage, Filecoin, and I think it's Sia Coin is SC.
Okay.
These are distributed data centers, basically. So if you want to, let's take the Solana blockchain, for example. This thing has a huge block space that allows it to scale, and therefore the size of the chain is ridiculous. You could not store, the full node would not fit on any personal computer. It could only fit in data centers, which would make it extremely centralized. So what they do is they offload the majority of the historical data to these decentralized file servers, so they can keep the full decentralization while still making it scalable and be able to have normal people run nodes.
Chia is also one that does this too, but they use hard drives instead of SD space. And so you can use your old hard drives that no one uses anymore. As long as they're working, you can actually put the whole thing on that. Filecoin is a little bit pricey to use, like as a personal user, but as a company or or something where you need a lot of storage, it's actually fairly scalable and easy because it's about one price for, what you would need. And I like all of these. I like StorageJ, Filecoin, and I don't know Sia Coin, but I'm pretty sure it's called Chia. It's by the guy. I'll remember it later. But
guys, I don't want to flex, but I was in early to Sia Coin. I bought Sia Coin right around 8 cents back here. It was a pretty good investment. I was in early. What can I say? Revolutionary over here.
Damn, that's crazy. You must be so rich if you were that early.
Yeah, it's at 2 cents now.
Wow.
I don't know what I did with it, but hey.
This is why they gave you the job, huh?
Funny story about Sia Coin, actually. There's a company called Bitmain, which makes a bunch of ASIC miners, and they made one for Sia Coin. This was back when they were making miners for like Litecoin and a lot of different cryptocurrencies. They made one for Sia Coin that was super profitable, super efficient, and essentially they were able to get so much of the network that Sia Coin just updated their blockchain and said, screw you guys, we don't want you guys to mine anymore, and updated their blockchain so none of those miners could work, basically rendering them useless, which I thought was kind of funny.
That's tough.
You'll have that.
I mean,
Sounds
these
pretty
obviously
centralized if they could
serve
just
like
shut down
a
all those
great.
miners.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting they could
That's
do that.
concerning.
But hey, I mean, Coin, Filecoin, alt storage, these all serve a great purpose, and it's key to keep applications decentralized on different networks. So there's definitely a place in the market for these, and they're valued as such. I mean, almost $1 billion here for Coin. Filecoin's a lot bigger. I think storage is also bigger than Coin. Oh, it's not. It's at 400 million. But still, I mean, all these have fairly large market caps. I think there's a place for them. I'll give them all a moon, honestly.
Oh yeah,
same here.
this is going to be, and we're going to probably see a lot more of these projects kind of pop up because they kind of there's this handful of them, and then it kind of got left behind. But everyone wants these. But there's so much money to be made in these different kind of blockchain solutions, as in decentralized storage, decentralized rendering, RNDR, that token and that project. You can take people's really fancy computers and use their graphics card and render your a movie or anything you want. Those things, I think we're going to see a few more of them pop up soon as Ethereum and Polygon, all this stuff evolves. And that's what people are waiting on. That's just my hot take.
Awesome. Well, we are out of time for today. So thank you all for tuning in. We will be back Monday with an interview with the Glue Factory show. We got a Hollywood star on that interview. You do not want to miss it. So we will see you all Monday at 2 p.m. For now, this is Moon or Bust, your home for all things altcoins and DeFi. Hope you have a good rest of your day. Peace out.